what were the names of the dwarves in The Hobbit?
Thorin, Doran, Feely, Keely, Bomber.
Oh, and Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. Hello and welcome to this episode of Worth Watching. Today we're reviewing The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies.
So this movie is the last chapter in the Hobbit trilogy, which probably should have just been one or two movies, but Peter Jackson decided to make it a trilogy, and so we have the final chapter of that trilogy. The movie begins with the killing of Smaug the dragon as he is terrorizing the village outside of the Lonely Mountain, and goes on to where now essentially the dwarves have reclaimed their mountain. However, there's a lot of treasure in there, and so the townsfolk want some of the treasure, the elves want some of the treasure, and of course the orcs want to take over the mountain as well, so you have this big converging battle with multiple armies all fighting for the same thing. And this movie has kind of a weird feeling to me where most of it is this battle that's going on, and I feel like since we had that super slow first Hobbit movie, and the second one that finally felt about approximately properly paced, and then this movie that's just all battle, if we'd combined them into like two movies or even maybe one 4-hour movie, it would have been a lot more watchable than trying to break it up into 3 movies. And I just feel like that really hampered the storytelling of the movie because it's the shortest book of the Lord of the Rings series and didn't need 3 movies to tell one book.
And that was my main problem with the first movie. It was so slow and boring. I was so uninterested, like it made me not like the rest of the Hobbit movies, but this one was pretty good.
And credit where credit is due, this movie has an awesome battle in it, and the battle looks really awesome.
And something that went with that was the visuals of like the battles and things like that. And in the beginning when the dragon burned down the city, I thought it looked awesome, the way everything was on fire.
I actually, honestly, no, to be honest, like, okay, it was cool looking, but it felt like the cutscene in a video game where it was like everything was so CGI, and that was another major problem I had with this movie. If you look at just the behind-the-scenes features of the original Lord of the Rings movies, they built all of these massive sets for real, and when they didn't build something for real, they built like a 30-foot tall miniature of the set that they were shooting in, so that everything just felt seamlessly blended and there was so much heart and soul put into it. In this, I don't know if there was a single shot in this movie that didn't have some green screen element in there, and everything just felt like it was this cut and paste CGI that was all put together, and it really took me out of the movie and made me go, this just feels like a cash grab. It doesn't feel like there was actually any sort of immersion in the world for me.
But I thought it looked cool, so I thought it worked. Something I did think looked a little ridiculous was when they had a scene with Legolas running up falling rocks, and they kind of had it paused, like every single step he took, and it looked really, really bad. And it kind of upset me because Legolas is like my favorite, and I think they could have made it look so much cooler, and I think it made me so mad because I thought they could have done a better job.
Yeah, it's a slow motion shot of him running up these falling pieces of debris, like for a good 10 seconds. It looks like something out of a level of Mario rather than something. You know, I know Legolas can do crazy things because he weighs practically nothing. He can walk on top of snow, but this just looked
fake.
Yeah. And I don't want to seem like I'm just bashing this movie because I actually did like a lot about it. I thought there was a lot of stuff that was done well with it. One of those things was the acting. I felt like on one hand the dialogue felt kind of stilted and hammy at points, but that the actors did their best to sell it. I mean, obviously you have Sir Ian McKellan, who's great. Martin Freeman, who is also great as Bilbo. You just have a lot of good actors, and everyone really pulls their own weight. And also, I like that at the end of this movie, the very last scene of this movie just leads perfectly into the Fellowship of the Ring, where you could literally, if you had this on DVD, you could be watching it, finish it, take it out, put Fellowship of the Rings right in, and just flow perfectly into it. And I love it when like a prequel will flow up perfectly into the first movie of whatever series it's part of.
So with all that in mind, what would you give this movie?
I'm going to give it a B. Just like a plain middle-of-the-road B. I want to give it a low B just because compared to the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, I feel like even though this was a fairly decent movie, it still falls short. But on its own, as a standalone film without anything to compare it to, it's a mid-B. What would you rate it?
I'd have to give it a B as well. I had low expectations for it because I hated the first one so much, but I thought it was pretty good. Thanks for watching this episode of Worth Watching.
Remember to like the video if you like it, comment down below with your thoughts on The Hobbit, the Battle of the Five Armies, and of course subscribe if you want to see more.
Bye.